heading back from the National Corvette Museum and the assembly plant at Bowling Green. Unfortunately, you can't really film it at the factory. You can film at the museum, but I kind of wanted to enjoy the experience of the tour. I didn't want to just quite be holding the camera the whole time. I didn't want to be making my tour guide nervous. So I went ahead and did the VIP tour. What the VIP tour does is it gives you a personal docent or tour guide, whatever you want to call them, that walks you through the whole experience. You get to see mostly what a normal tour group gets to see. I had hoped you got to see a little bit more. At the end of the tour, it looks like you pretty much get to see what they get to see. You just get more time spent. You get more one-on-one. It's actually meant to be, you're basically paying for one tour guide for up to 4 people. So for me, it's a $200 cost for the tour, just so I thought I'd be out $200 for one person. They will group you up. They'll ask you if you're okay with it. I was, so I ended up only paying $50 because there were 3 other people that were okay being grouped up too. To me, it wasn't that I needed a one-on-one tour. I just didn't want to get shoved in a gigantic group like the normal tours at the factory are like. I wanted a chance to be able to ask questions, to stop, to actually hear what the guy was saying. My dad had done the regular tour a few years ago and said it was kind of a cattle call with 15, 20 people in each group. So you get to see the factory floor and hear a few things, but you don't really get to learn a lot. And I wanted to learn a lot. So that was one of the neat things about today. So the tour starts off, you basically go to the delivery office, which I thought was kind of interesting. I felt a little weird, like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, this is where you go if you're going to be picking up a Corvette, and I'm just there signing up, checking in for a tour. But they're really cool, really friendly. I checked in. I had to wait about 15 minutes for the other people to show up. I was there a little early. I was a little excited. Turns out it was a gentleman, his wife, and his kid. They were from Miami. He had a white 2015 Z51. They had actually done the tour before. And later on, they were telling me some cooler things they got to do that time that you don't get to do now. But I'll get to that later when I get past the walkthrough. So met up with them. We got to take a short little ride over to the factory, which was neat. It was just me and 2 other people. That's another nice thing, is you don't have to just go to the front of the factory and go through all of that. You get the tour guide that just takes you right in, which was kind of cool. We had to sign in, but you kind of get a guide for the guided experience, which was pretty cool. I don't know, that went on, it took us about 15-20 minutes to finally get into the factory. It was kind of neat. We started off in, I want to say it was the paint area, kind of, sort of. One thing I should say is the VIP tour that I took seems like it went to the exact same places that the normal tour did. The difference was with the VIP tour is we got to stop. We stopped at a whole bunch of other places. The guy explained stuff. We got to ask questions, and I do apologize to the other people in the group. I think I monopolized the conversation, but the reality was they had done the tour before, so I don't think they had as many questions as I did. But we stopped constantly, and he would let us in on little things. He'd point out how we could tell the difference between one car and another, because you could see the dry sump system or the ceramic brakes on the Z07 package cars. It was pretty cool. One of the neatest things we got to see today, one of the very coolest, was apparently this is one of the first days they restarted Z06 production. So we got to see Z06s on the line, and the other thing we got to see was in the Grand Sports, we saw a few of the Twilight packages. Or I'm sorry, actually I think that is what it's called, the Twilight. No, Heritage package. The one where they do the blue, all the bright blue interior, and it's got the blue hash marks on the hood. So I didn't get to see any with the blue hash marks. All the ones we saw still didn't have hoods on them, but we got to see the interiors in person. It's like 6-8 feet away on the production line. It was really cool. It is a bright blue though, man. You gotta love blue to like those. So that was kind of cool that we were one of the first people to see the new Z06s, or not new, but the 2017s with the cooling packages that they've corrected. So hopefully folks aren't going to have issues overheating on the tracks like they were before. I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm probably going Grand Sport, so it's not as big of a deal to me, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. The only thing that was a disappointment on the tour was, some of you guys may know, or folks, that the LT1s and the Stingrays and the Grand Sports, C51s, they build those up in New York, near Buffalo. But the LT4s for the Z06s, they actually build in Bowling Green. And one of the things I've always thought is cool is you can pay them. It's like a $5,000 option. You can build the engine yourself. So I was really curious to see the engine build shop, and I thought it'd be, I was really looking forward to seeing it. Well, you get to see it, but really what it is you get to walk right by it. They've got some glass windows. You can see right in. So you can see guys working on engines. You can see people doing it, but I was hoping to actually get in the shop and actually get to see people, putting pistons in engine. There's some really cool videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. Some of my favorite channels have got some really cool videos that go through the experience. I'm guessing they had media credentials or something, and that let them actually bring a camera into the factory. But that was kind of how I'd got an idea that the factory was something that I wanted to do, was because I had seen some videos on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, I highly suggest you go check them out. But yeah, so did the paint shop. Sorry to go back. Did the paint shop. Check that out. Walked through, got to see some assembly line stuff. Basically, they don't manufacture anything at this plant. It's all just assembly. They have everything in sub-assemblies. Most stuff is done at vendors where they ship stuff like seats or the frame, the doors. Things are mostly put together. So we got to walk through the line. We got to see how they assemble everything from the start of, they called it the trim, and the body shop. Those seem to be the two starting points. And those two kind of come together with a frame. And then we got to see the point where they marry the chassis and the frame together. It was interesting. Apparently they only connected 6 different places when they first put it together. There's a whole bunch of other places later on, but when they first married the two together, it's only 6 places. So that was kind of neat. It's kind of amazing how these cars will start, on the floor. They're building them. They'll get up high. They'll go down below. They'll marry the two. Then they'll go up high. All the different places. So got to walk through all those areas. It was kind of neat. We got to the end where they actually drive them off onto the next stage. They actually have the engine startup. The 3 people that were with me on the tour, I wouldn't have been disappointed at this point until they told me. Apparently with the VIP tours, they used to let all the VIP people would sit in and they get to be the ones starting a car. So I could have been somebody starting a car for the first time. Now I'm okay not doing it. It's somebody else's car. I probably would have felt a little weird, but it still would have been cool. I would have liked to have had that opportunity. One of the women said, or the woman who was in our group, the gentleman's wife, said that the first time they came for even a normal tour, they pull someone out. So even the normal tours, one person got to do it. But it's okay. The best part was getting to hear those engines go. After that, they drive them into a test facility that kind of puts it through its paces. The computer does some simulation, run the engine up. One of the cool things is it was actually a Z06 that was pulling into the bay. So since we were a tour right there, the guy who was pulling into the bay kind of got on a little. So you got to hear that beautiful LT4 spin up. And it was probably only 3,000 RPM or something, but that engine, even running that low, just sounds amazing. If you've heard one in person, it's just an amazing engine.